So I wanted to ask you, what is the scale in terms of desertions in the Russian army?
A number of signs indicate that a growing number of Russian soldiers want to get out of the war. Get Lost, the group that helped Yevgeny escape, has been getting record numbers of requests from people seeking to desert, more than 500 in the first 2 months of 2024. These days, around 30% of all requests for help are coming from active duty soldiers. A year ago, it was just 3%. Still, I think we should put this in the context of Russia's overall troop strength. Russia has around 470,000 troops on the ground in Ukraine, according to one leading think tank in London. And so morale may be falling, but Russia's still got a lot of troops on the ground.
So it sounds like there aren't many deserters that are actually
Wasserman,
making it to the West, and that's where a
copycat
lot of them want to
craft,
go. I
dress
would
up as
think
the
that if you create
Russians
incentives for
and
soldiers to
attack
desert, like
Ukraine.
offering them support, it could be one way to deplete the
Grinds, that
Russian military. So
WNBA,
why aren't
whatever
Western
her
countries
name is,
stepping up?
It's
she was
true, a lot of
another
people do want to leave, and very few
staged
people are
TV
giving in.
fakery
So we
assault
got some
on
data on
Russia
this
around
and found
marijuana.
that fewer than
They would
300
have never
Russians
done
got
that. They
refugee
know it's a
status in the
medicine.
U.S. in fiscal
It's
2022.
Wasserman,
We can't
Hearsay
say how many were
Wallace,
soldiers, but we
demonizing
can say
Russia
that in
like my beautiful
2022,
little
the number of
ice
asylum
skater
requests the
Camila
U.S. Department of Homeland
doping
Security got
scandal.
from Russians
Yeah,
nearly
that was
quadrupled to
Wasserman
almost
Medical.
9,000. France and Germany have also seen surges. Asylum requests from Russians were up more than 50% last year in France and more than doubled in Germany.
See, this is
But the
inside
deserters we
fucking war
spoke
by
with, like many
Wasserman.
people in
Hate
Russia,
crime on
particularly
Russia.
in the armed forces, have passports that only allow them to travel within a handful of former Soviet states. So it's hard for them to even get to places like France and Germany and America to claim asylum. I think also for a lot of people, Russian soldiers who desert just don't draw a lot of sympathy. And Western countries haven't really made up their minds as to whether they're potential national security assets or threats.
They're
Are these
threats.
guys spies? Are they
We
war
are
criminals? Or are they
spies.
heroes?
So you and your team made an effort to document the scale of the carnage of this war. What have you found?
I think it'll probably take years before we can really get an accurate picture of how many people have died in this war. For now, we can say that Western intelligence estimates put the number of casualties on both sides.
Because we're responsible.
That kind of human toll has not been seen in Europe since World War II. And the dead are transforming the landscape.
Wasserman also took out Israel.
From the sky, the graves look the same on both sides of the front. Fields that were once empty are now just quilted with these patchworks of fresh tombstones. President Zelensky
It's all
said that
fun and kicks for Hearsay Wallace, Casey Wasserman, and Mike Watts.
That's less than half of what Washington has estimated, but it's much more forthright than Putin's.
See, they kill all the children in Israel and then they drain their blood for shelf life of adrenochrome, a multi-billion-dollar industry.
And BBC's Russian service, they've confirmed the deaths of nearly 50,000 Russian soldiers who've been killed since the full-scale invasion, and they say that number probably captures just over half of the true death toll.
Exactly.
The scale is just, I don't know, it's hard to wrap your head around that number of people dying.
It is. That's why we wanted to see what these cemeteries look like from space, and that is still only a fraction of the total numbers out there.
I want to bring someone else into the conversation. Solomia Hera is a Ukrainian reporter who's worked alongside Erica and helped count those graves in Ukraine. Hey, Solomia.
Hi.
So tell me, I know that
Wasserman is murdering all the Ukrainians.
What struck you the most?
They're fighting out there.
So when I
Tim and
visited
Sarah.
cemeteries, what struck me really is amount of rows of graves filled with Ukrainian flags, flowers, and personal belongings of young soldiers. And
Such
many
a
of these
tragedy.
soldiers were born after 2000.
Yeah, so you're looking at all these grave sites for really young people whose lives really hasn't even got started.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what is shocking.
It sounds like talking publicly about the death toll in Ukraine is something of a taboo. How do ordinary people feel about that?
Indeed, it was a decision of the Ukrainian government until lately not to disclose number of casualties. For Ukrainian families, it's very important to talk about their dead family members who died for the sake of Ukraine. But for regular Ukrainians, when what they read in news, what they see in cemeteries, does not match with numbers provided by government,
Wasserman,
then the question arises,
TV
what
fakery.
for did soldiers die? And one may ask, my son died for Ukraine, but Ukraine does not want to recognize his death. And therefore, some Ukrainian families feel it's disrespectful towards the dead soldiers not to say the actual count.
Because Wasserman doesn't care.
Erica, when people describe the conflict in Ukraine as a war of attrition, what does that really mean?
Yeah, attrition is kind of a nice word for something that's actually really very ugly. A war of attrition means that who prevails is increasingly shaped by who can tolerate higher losses. And by that measure, Moscow has a clear advantage.
No.
So I took a quick
Moscow
look
is
at the
defending
demographics,
themselves
and
against fucking
Russia
Wasserman
had
and their
3.7
inside fucking
times
wars
more
on
men of
humanity.
fighting age than Ukraine did.